Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. It's Friday, March 20th. Thanks for staying with us. A curfew goes into full effect beginning tonight at 9 p.m., ending at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and that routine will continue until March 31st. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis ordered that this curfew be imposed as a measure to assist in the fight against the spread of COVID-19. The virus has now infected 4 persons and 10 persons are currently in a quarantine facility. The emergency orders gives the government the authority to use temporary but necessary measures, according to the Prime Minister, and the curfew will end with consultation from medical professionals. The Prime Minister outlined other parts of the emergency order.
All establishments, businesses, office, stores, and shall suspend operations to the general public, except for the following: wholesale or retail and farmers market from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., except doctors' offices, hospitals, or pharmacies from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., gas stations from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And as I've stated, it was essential to exempt trucks, personnel, and vehicles from this curfew so as to allow fuel and personnel to be transported properly to the proper facilities.
Now, other exceptions include pharmacies, gas stations, commercial ports and related businesses, airports, laundromats, and washhouses for hygienic purposes will open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Medical supply establishments, hotels, banks, life and health insurance brokers, wholesale bakery, hardware stores for the purpose of taking purchase orders from licensed contractors, and credit unions from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Restaurant drive-thrus or takeaway food vendors from 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and construction companies carrying out construction work from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now, this order does not affect the function of essential officers
of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Royal Bahamas Fire Services, Department of Correctional Services, National Insurance Board, the Department of Social Services, the Department of Services, the sanitational workers and staff within any hospital or healthcare or medical facilities. Affect the function by essential officers of any water, electricity, or other sector encompassing the provision of electronic communications, including print and electronic media. Nothing in this order shall prohibit religious or educational instruction, worship, or other activity by electronic or virtual means.
However, the order also affects persons who may be getting married, funerals, or any social events within the next 11 days. If a person, company, or organization does not follow the order, he or she will face a fine, imprisonment, or both, fines not exceeding $10,000 or 18 months in prison. Dr. Minnis reassured that the government has made the necessary and significant steps to deal with the virus. There are 255,305 confirmed cases globally, 10,444 deaths, and 87,351 have recovered from COVID-19. The Prime Minister's emergency order was rushed, so says Leader of the Opposition Philip Davis, who is also not too pleased that the government did not consult with the opposition with regards to emergency powers ordered implemented to help combat COVID-19. Mr. Davis says the Prime Minister promulgated these measures, which the PLP did not have an opportunity to lend its voice to provide views on the appropriate initiatives as they see it. Now, in his national address on Sunday, the Prime Minister noted that he hoped that the Leader of the Opposition and the party would work with the government in the spirit of cooperation to help keep the Bahamas strong during these times.
It is our view that these measures must be for the benefit of the Bahamian people. We are concerned that this was all done in a heated rush and may have unintended consequences adverse to the public. I also pointed out yesterday that there was no evidence that the Bahamian people needed to be coerced into following directives and protocols promulgated by the government. And we reiterated our acceptance of the Prime Minister's invitation to be a part of the process by providing recommendations as to how best to address the concerns that may mitigate against an effective response to this pandemic.
Mr. Davis is questioning the rationales that fall under the exceptions of the order, which he found to be contradictory.
Why, for example, keep construction sites open? It is unrealistic to think that in such an industry, which is hazardous at the best of times, that people will be able to keep themselves 3 to 6 feet apart. Why keep hotels open? Secondly, many of these regulations are a clear overreach with no benefit.
The opposition leader is also questioning how many essential workers will get to and from work if public transportation is shut down. Nevertheless, Mr. Davis urged the public to pay attention to the medical advice on this matter, adding that the PLP is committed to continuing to provide advice to the government and says if there is a true bipartisan spirit, his ideas will survive. He further urges the government to begin widespread COVID-19 testing in order to act on empirical evidence. As he says, the PLP will continue to monitor the situation in the best interest of the Bahamian people. Health officials have been encouraging persons to practice social distancing, maintaining at least 3 to 6 feet according to the emergency powers order. Well, the heartbeat of the island and perhaps the busiest street of New Providence is now a ghost town. Our news team took to the streets today to get the public's thoughts on the impact of emergency powers orders, as well as the financial impact as this very unpredictable COVID-19 continues to take over the world. As there are now 4 confirmed cases here in the Bahamas, the government has taken measures to best protect the safety and health of Bahamians. One business owner says the majority of her store's income comes from tourists. Her thoughts on the financial impact and her plans moving forward.
Well, it will have a serious impact on the business because, as you can see, there's absolutely no tourists in town, and there's nobody at all to sell to. But today, and I guess from Monday, Tuesday, I took the opportunity to come in, not so much looking for the business, but just to clean up. And so when this pass, the store would be presentable and, be ready for business.
As for the government's EPO, she says truthfully, the government is the government and all its citizens need to comply. Now, this gentleman says he may not like the inconvenience of the EPO, but he gets why it's needed.
Well, ultimately, we have to look at the risk of not containing it. And so whilst we may not like, I'm going to say, the inconvenience that it may cause, ultimately it's being done in the best interest of saying that if we get it under containment in a quick fashion, then we can return to our normal lives in a faster manner.
And not everyone is understanding of the EPO. This one resident says she's frustrated, particularly when it comes to public transportation, her only means of getting around.
When I caught the bus to come to work this morning, the bus driver told me that he would not be able to carry me to work because he said they're not supposed to run. As of from the day, there will be no more bus running, and I did not know that ahead of time, and I think it's wrong for the government to allow people to come to work, but not telling people in advance that the bus system will not be running for a certain period of time. How they expect people to get to work. Something needs to be done about it.
The emergency order is expected to last for the next 11 days. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.